All right, we should be live. Let me just make sure everything is going here. Before we get started, we do have severe weather in the Northeast as we speak. So we are going to be doing some coverage on that today. So let me just type something in the chat here. Okay, so I just posted that in the chat. All right, we have severe weather in the Northeast, which is fairly uncommon for this year. It really hasn't happened much. I think we've only had a few severe weather outbreaks. Now, we do have a possible tornado here in parts of New Jersey. Let's switch to a closer image here. So that is definitely potentially some hail in there, but let's take a look at the velocity. Maybe if I can get something closer, maybe the Mount Holly. Really not a great angle there, but you can see some rotation here. There we go. Some of this and this all kind of centered right in here. We do have that potential tornado. Now that is a tornado warning. Even though it isn't the best signature, we could be seeing some spiraling in there, some rotation. Now, that isn't just the only area of severe weather. We also have other areas of severe weather here in northern Connecticut, near Enfield and Suffield and Springfield, Massachusetts. Now, this is just an area with some strong winds. We're not really seeing any rotation, but you can see here that if we take a look, we're at 63 miles an hour here just south of Springfield, Massachusetts, over by East Longmeadow and Longmeadow, Massachusetts. Now, over by Granby and East Granby, we also have about 60-mile-an-hour winds, which warrants that severe thunderstorm warnings here issued by NWS Boston. Now, let's take a look at some other severe areas here. Let's take a look at our Albany NWS location, where we do have a little line of thunderstorms here, right around Denning, New York, Livingston, New York, Liberty, New York, and just to the south of Albany here, we could see some things going on there in Schenectady. So just a little bit of thunderstorm activity here. Let's take a look at our velocity, where you could see here. Let's take a look. About 30 to 40, but we could see that's a little odd there. Let's take a look at some of the readings here. If I can get the actual info here. Let's see. New York, I think that's it. Can I get the info? Sometimes this is a little awkward, but we'll try. There we go. Okay. So, severe thunderstorm warning for South Central Delaware County and Northeast Sullivan County. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail, radar indicated, including Rockland, Liberty, Neversink, South Fallsburg, Jeffersonville, Parksville, Loch Seldrake, Hazel, Grahamsville, and Willowamok. So, many different areas here getting some severe weather. We have more urban areas. We have more rural areas getting severe weather here. Let's take a look up here in Manchester, New Hampshire. Severe thunderstorm warning here. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern York County and southwestern Maine. northern Rockingham County in southern New Hampshire, Stratford County in central New Hampshire, central Hillsborough County in southern New Hampshire, and southeastern Merrimack County in central New Hampshire. Hazard, there we go. So our hazard here is 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. Radar indicated. Locations impacted include Manchester, Derry, Rochester, Merrimack, Durham, Exeter, Northwood, Dover, Bedford, Hooksett, Somersworth, Amherst, Barrington, Litchfield, Berwick, Farmington, Epping, New Boston, Epsom, and Brentwood. So following highways, Interstate 293, 93, and 95. So a populated area here getting some severe weather here. Let's take a look at the velocity here, where we do have radar indicated 76 mile an hour wind, 81. There we go. New high water mark there. 81 mile an hour winds here just to the south and west of Manchester, New Hampshire. So let's move on here. We are going to take a look here. The tornado warning in New Hampshire has expired, but we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning in place. Here, let's take a look. Severe thunderstorm warning for Morris County in northern New Jersey, southwestern Sussex County in northwestern New Jersey, northeastern Warren County in northwestern New Jersey. Golf ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We saw that this storm was generating plenty of energy there. And the impact, people and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, sidings, windows, and vehicles. Wind damage to roof, siding, trees, and power lines is possible. Locations impacted include Morristown, Dover, Madison, Hopatcong. I definitely butchered that. Forum Park, East Hanover, Lincoln Park, Kinnelon, Hackettstown, Chatham, Boonton, Butler, Wortham, Rockaway, Morris Plains, Mount Arlington, Mendham, Mountain Lakes, Stanhope, and Riverdale. So many areas there, and this storm could be heading right toward the city. So we could be on the lookout for that. And let's move over to this radar imagery here. Now, this is basically moving right up, I believe that is Interstate 80. Let's just see here. They do not have that, but I believe that is Interstate 80 that could be impacted there. So that is a possibility. So let's continue to move on here. Further down to the south, Washington, D.C. is now in the mix of a little area of severe thunderstorms here. You can see the Alexandria getting some of it right now. Now, the heart of D.C., it has already moved through, but you don't have to worry about that anymore. But one city that could be under the thunderstorms here for maybe a little bit is potentially Baltimore. You also got Dale City. And continuing across, you got Chesapeake Beach, and then potentially even across into parts of eastern Maryland, Easton, Cambridge, areas like that. Now, this line continues to move down. Lewisburg in West Virginia potentially could be seeing some severe weather here. We have a severe thunderstorm here. You do got a little bit of that hook signature right in there. All right, moving on. Down into Kentucky here. Let's take a look and see if that's the better one. Williamsburg, Kentucky could be seeing a little bit of severe thunderstorm action as well. And then down just east of Nashville, there's a little thunderstorm that is moving through Watertown as we speak and moving towards Gordonsville. But we move all the way down here to the end of the line of thunderstorms here into Arkansas, where we do have Cersei there getting a severe thunderstorm. So we do have other areas here, such as south of Colorado Springs in Pueblo, but we're not going to really focus on that today. We're going to move back up into the Northeast. Let's head to Maine, where we do have some severe weather here. Let's start off in the south part of Maine by just north of Portland, Maine, in North Windham and Raymond, Maine. You could be seeing a little bit of that severe weather. And let's take a look at our velocity on that. Oh yeah, we do have that radar indicated 60-mile-an-hour winds here as it's moving through. Now, further up to the north, we got to take a look at a different radar here. And we are also seeing some areas that are seeing some pretty violent winds. 70 miles an hour here by Monson, Willimantic, and Bower Bank. You also got potentially 70 miles an hour by Greenville. You got maybe 55 here by Millinocket. And then up to the north here, we could be seeing some winds up north. Let's see if I can get... this is kind of in a bad spot, but at least 45 there by Allagash Village up in northern Maine. So let's head back down to the Boston area, where we still have ongoing thunderstorms there in northern Connecticut. So Springfield had just moved through. Enfield, you're getting it right now, as well as Windsor Locks. You also have areas like Monson and Brimfield that are going to be getting some severe weather here upcoming. All right, moving on, we are going back over to the New York area here. We're checking back in with this thunderstorm here. I think this should be in the New York NWS site range now, but this storm is still keeping its strength here. Let's see how many decibels that is. That is 60 decibels compared to Z, and let me just get my chart up to compare that to inches an hour. Alrighty, let's take a look here. Alrighty. Let me just grab that. Perfect. So we are seeing here 60 decibels compared to Z, which is 8 inches per hour of rainfall. Of course, decibels compared to Z moves on a logarithmic scale. So even though 60 decibels compared to Z doesn't seem like it's a lot more than, let's just say, 55 decibels compared to Z. 55 decibels compared to Z is 4 inches an hour, and 60 is 8 inches per hour. So definitely a big difference there. And even this area right here, 62, moving toward that 16 inches per hour mark there. So we are seeing that racing towards New York City. Let's just make sure here. How fast is this storm moving? So it is moving east at 45 miles per hour, and it is 11 miles southeast of Newton. We got ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Let's take a look at our velocity as this is moving through here. It seems like most of the wind speeds is just to the east of Mount Olive there, 65 miles an hour, and that could be making its way toward Morristown as we speak. So let's take a look here at the broader imagery here. We do have, this is the Wonderground map here. that is going to glitch out. So maybe let's try this. Let's go here. We're going to, let me just adjust this. All right, we're going to minimize this for now, and we are going to maximize our NWS page here, as we are going to just take a little bit more of an in-depth look here at this severe weather threat. Starting off here with our watches and warnings. We already looked at the warnings, but we have severe thunderstorm watches for portions of interior Maine, basically all of New Hampshire, most of Vermont, western Massachusetts, western Connecticut, the southern parts of New York, but that excludes Long Island, all of New Jersey, except for maybe 1 or 2 counties, most of eastern Pennsylvania and central Pennsylvania kind of getting split in two there. The majority of Delaware, the majority of Maryland, most of northern Virginia, and parts of eastern West Virginia. Now, on here, that does look like a tornado warning, so let's go back here for a second. Let me just minimize this, and let's take a look at a possible tornado warning there in West Virginia. So let's take a look there. Nope, that is a flash flood watch. All right, let's take a look at that. So we are seeing potentially, a slow moving system here dropping 2 to 4 inches of rainfall per hour there. So that is what popped up over there. But no tornado warnings as of now. So let's take it back over to here, our main area to watch right now, as major population centers are getting hit with severe thunderstorms. So let's minimize this as well. Let's actually make that a little larger. There we go. Perfect. And let's go back to the NWS page. Alrighty. So we're going to move on here to the Storm Prediction Center, where we do have marginal, slight, and enhanced risks. And we saw that tornado warning in that enhanced risk category. So let's take a look here at our enhanced risk across 16,000 square miles and a population of 15.5 million people, including Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Arlington, Virginia, and Alexandria, Virginia. Slight risks across 131,000 square miles and a population of 30.6 million people, including New York City, Newark, New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey, Yonkers, New York, and Worcester, Massachusetts. And we have marginal risks across 226,000 square miles and a population of 24.9 million people, including Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Richmond, Virginia, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Knoxville, Tennessee. We do have a 2% chance of tornadoes across 85,000 square miles and a population of 28.2 million people, including Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Newark, New Jersey, and Yonkers, New York. Now, you can see that dividing line is just to the west of New York City, to the west of Boston, but does include Philadelphia, Baltimore, D.C. Also includes Albany in there. You also got areas like Manchester, Concord in there as well. So let's take a little look at our winds, which match up to our marginal, slight, and enhanced risks. Marginal risks correlate to 5% chance of strong winds, that is above 58 miles per hour. 15% chance correlates to that slight risk, and 30% chance correlates to that enhanced risk. Hail, we do have a 5% chance of hail, where we do have that 2% chance of tornadoes. So you can see here that these severe thunderstorm warnings do encompass hail as well. So let's move on here to the satellite imagery. Now, I do have an overlay here with the geostationary lightning mapper. So we do have, I believe there's a key down here, number of flashes per 5 minutes. You can see that this is also on a logarithmic scale. So if it's red, we're looking at 10 to 100. And then in this like blue range, it's up to 255 and over. But we're mainly looking at the 1 to 100 flashes per 5 minutes range here. So you can see here that along this frontal boundary here, we are seeing thunderstorms explode. We're seeing those flashes here in West Virginia as that front moves through, moving through DC, moving through Philadelphia. You saw that severe thunderstorm that we were tracking heading into New York. That severe thunderstorm moving into Springfield and up through Manchester as well. So let's take a quick look here at our model imagery here. So right now we are at 6 o'clock Eastern time. So that is 1822. So we're right about here, which you can see correlates pretty close to this imagery here as well. So let's take a look back here at 22. So 7 o'clock hour, we're going to start to see those severe thunderstorms moving into areas such as continuing to move through DC, maybe even Dover, Delaware, and Wilmington, Delaware, south of Philadelphia, moving into northwest Connecticut, moving into Springfield, and then eventually these storms move into the lower regions of the region. So that includes areas such as maybe you got Bridgeport, Connecticut there. You got, of course, New York City, New Haven, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, Boston, Massachusetts, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Bangor, and Portland, Maine as well. So let's take a look at our mixed layer cape here. We do have plenty of energy still available for these thunderstorms to continue to fire up here as we speak. You have through DC 2,500 joules per kilogram of energy. Through Philadelphia, you got approximately 1,500. New York City at about 1,200. But Boston doesn't have much energy at the moment. Again, that is why they're on the outside of this main severe threat. By the time the thunderstorms move into Boston or the Boston area, it's going to be too late at night for any real conditions to be conducive for thunderstorm development. So that is a brief overview there. Let's just take a look back over here. I'll zoom in so we have this in the foreground here, and then let's switch back to radar scope. I could actually zoom in a bit more here. Actually, I cannot. Never mind. So let's take a look back at radar scope here. Boom. Just enhancing that a little bit more. Alrighty. So let's take a look over here back into the Boston area. We see these thunderstorms starting to weaken off a little bit more as they move into eastern Connecticut and moving toward Worcester, Massachusetts. We could see some thunderstorms passing just south of Worcester as they move through the region. Now let's move back down south to New York City as we're still watching this one little cell here now moving into Dover, New Jersey, and starting to make its way through into possibly Paterson, Yonkers. Now, we could see this maybe stretch into New York City, but at the moment, the way that it is moving and the trajectory that's on, it could stay just to the north. Continuing to move down, let's move toward Philadelphia as we are having some thunderstorms just fire up here over the Delaware Bay. Now, if you do live in potentially Ocean City, Atlantic City, yep, there it is. Severe thunderstorm warning here. Just got issued. Look at that. And that is just over the Delaware Bay. And you can see here a severe thunderstorm was located near Dover base housing, or near Dover, moving east at 25 miles an hour, 70-mile-an-hour winds, and quarter-size hail. Let's take a look at those winds, shall we? So you can see here, this is still firing up on the radar as we speak. Let's see if I can get a better view here. Yep, we can go right in here. And even though this isn't going to give us the best reading, you could definitely see that there are some glimpses here of a strong thunderstorm moving and popping up here. So let's see how those continue to develop. But it does seem like this area of severe thunderstorms here from Dover, Delaware, up through southern New Jersey is firing up and running on all cylinders here. You can see that all just blew up very quickly. So let's take a look back toward Washington, D.C. We still have those severe thunderstorms moving through the area, just moving through Bowie, and now setting its sights on Annapolis here. We could see areas like Selby on the Bay get a little bit of that front moving through. Let's take a look at the velocity. Oh, yeah. We do have up to, let's see, 67, 72 mile an hour winds moving into Annapolis. So we will definitely be on the lookout for that. Let's continue to move further south here. We do have our other severe thunderstorm warnings in Northern Virginia and West Virginia as well. And we still have that flash flood warning over by Charleston as well. Oh, wow. That is a moving into Lewisburg there. Hoo-wee. Let's see. That is 70 decibels compared to Z, which is more than 16 inches of rain per hour. 70 decibels compared to Z right in there. That is an absolute drencher moving through Lewisburg, West Virginia. Alrighty. So let's continue to move on here. We are heading further south here into Middlesboro. And that is just on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee. We have plenty of severe weather here as this little cell is actually developing through. And we are seeing, let's see the velocity on here. That is also developing as well. We could see that blow up into the 50s, 60s pretty soon. Alrighty, let's move back up north here and let's take a look back at our other thunderstorms. This is definitely still my area of interest. Let's see how that figures itself out here. Let's see here. Anything else? Let's look back up toward Manchester. Alrighty. Let's do this real quick. Alright, and we're back. So we still have these thunderstorms. Now, they have moved through Manchester at this point, and they do seem like they are starting to at least lose some of their strength at this point. Let's take a look at the velocity on that. You still got some areas here moving toward Kingston and Exeter, seeing up to 55, 60 mile an hour winds. And you have some areas back there toward Concord and Loudoun that could be seeing those stronger winds as well. Alrighty. So let's take a look down to the south again. Let's take a look at our reflectivity. Starting to move into Patterson. This little blip on the radar, but it is a powerful storm, still producing plenty of rain. So let's take a look into the details here. Take a look at some of the towns. So we got Victory Gardens, Rockaway, Denville, Mountain Lakes, Parsippany, Troy Hills. Starting to get into it now as this storm continues to roll its way across I-80, basically taking that straight east-west direction there. Now let's just take a look here. If I draw things out here, let's take the southern side of the storm, which is right here, travel it along the direction that it is moving. Could be seeing northern New York and then the northern side here, and it's moving in this direction, maybe towards Stamford. So this could be the area of potential impacts there, and then you got there. So I'd say that this is the region here that this storm could be impacting. Now, of course, we could see things start to diminish here. So if you're still east of the Hudson River, just keep that with a little bit of a grain of salt at the moment. Of course, we could still see this start to dissipate as it starts to move to the east into less conducive convection conditions. But there is, of course, still a possibility there as the energy's still there. We know the energy's there. We did look at the loop there on Pivotal Weather, and you still have 1,200 joules per kilogram of energy still in the atmosphere over New York City. So, of course, these things could still blow up and cool down and blow up and cool down as they continue to move off to the east here. But still looking at that as our main area here. We do have this area up here, but that does seem to be losing some of its gas. You do got a little bit of a hook action in there. Let's take a look at that here. Let me actually move to, I think Albany is closer. Alrighty. So, maybe not. Doesn't seem like it's doing too well. It might be outgassing a little bit too much there as well. Alrighty, but we do have a storm here up by Schenectady, and let's take a look at that. That is moving right across Clifton Park, Half Moon, Waterford over there in the Albany area. But that also has a bit of flare to it as well. Let's take a look here. That's starting to pop up on the radar as more than just a blip. So we will be continuing to follow that as it takes its toll there in parts of northern New York. All right, we're starting to see things really start to blow up here by Winstead and New Hartford by Barkhamsted. Let's take a look at the velocity there. Actually, let's take a look at the, I think that actually still is the Albany radar. So let's just make sure. I think so. Yep. All right. Winstead, New Hartford. It's really not pulling up well. Maybe the Boston radar or the New York radar has a better imagery on that. Let's see here. Not really. I think the Boston one has the best view. Right in there, maybe. It looks like it's right around here, 58, 59 miles per hour. So we could see potentially a severe thunderstorm warning out of that as well. I would just wait and see before that actually happens. But we're still seeing things start to blow up on the radar here. We're now starting to see some more action here in other parts. We see this thing really starting to energize here in areas near Woodstock, right in there. Of course, we said Winston already. We got, of course, our current area down by Patterson. But it does look like that is about it for now here in the Northeast. Let's take a look here. Oh, God, it definitely blew up. Let's see. A little bit. Yeah, you do have some development here by Mullica Township and Egg Harbor City. You also got some development going on here by Corbin City. See here, it's moving out of Dover. All right. Annapolis. Oh boy, you just got it. Let's take a look here on that DC radar there. Yep, Annapolis, you just got it. You did get a bit lucky, though. You do have this little break in the radar there. But just the North Arnold, Cape St. Clair, Crownsville kind of got an amplification there. Alrighty. Moving down to the south, I believe that's Deal. You got a little bit of an explosion in there. Let's take a look at that on the velocity chart. Oh, yeah, you got a little bit of 55, 60 in there. Annapolis, you're about to get it. 67 miles per hour right by the Naval Academy. That is happening basically as we speak here. This second side, you had your little break, and now this is coming in. So we will see there. All righty. So let's take a look here. Velocity-wise, yep, you got it right into Annapolis there. You got that 67, 68 mile an hour. Gusts in there. Let's take a look here. Yep, 67, 68 it seems. And that is heading right towards you in Annapolis here. Let's see. Is there some hail? Potentially some hail in there as well, maybe. Let's take a look at that severe thunderstorm warning, though. Let me do this. Oh, I just had it. There we go. All right, a severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 6:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Central and Arundel and northeastern Prince George's counties. At 6:34 p.m., a severe thunderstorm was located near Severna Park, near Dobbins Island, moving east at 40 miles an hour. Hazard, 70 mile an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail radar indicated. Damaging winds will cause some trees and large branches to fall. This could injure those outdoors, as well as damage homes and vehicles. Roadways may become blocked by downed trees. Localized power outages are possible. Unsecured light objects may become projectiles. Locations impacted include Severn, Annapolis, Crofton, Naval Academy, Magathie River, Dobbins Island, Severn River, Pinehurst, Gibson Island, Sillery Bay, Glen Burnie, Severna Park, Odenton, Pasadena, Arnold, Lakeshore, Parole, Fort Meade, Millersville, and South Gate. So, considerable hail threat. Radar indicated max hail size 1 inch. Wind threat. Radar indicated max gust 70 miles per hour, and that is moving right through, and that expires in 1 minute. Let's see, is there another one? That expires in 45. There we go. Updated. Okay, at 6:40, a severe thunderstorm was located over Annapolis, moving east at 35 miles an hour. 70 mile an hour winds and quarter-size hail radar indicated. Basically the same thing there. They just extended the severe thunderstorm warning into that area. Here, now that could move across the Chesapeake. It's starting to take like a circle format here. Anybody else see that? Just a little bit of this. Like, just one giant hole in the middle. And it is actually starting to run out of gas here. But the winds are still there. The winds are still there now at 75 miles per hour here, moving just to the south of Annapolis. And we could be seeing that impact any second now. So we will see there. There we go. Just updated, and it just moved just to the south of Annapolis in the Naval Academy. Annapolis, you're seeing 56-mile-an-hour winds. Naval Academy, 57-mile-an-hour winds there. Alrighty, now that that's moved through, let's take a look back over here. Let's take a look at that. Alright. We do see here the Egg Harbor City starting to see some winds moving in there near Mullica Township as well. Alrighty, moving back up toward Patterson. It seems like this severe thunderstorm is just stringing out a bit more. Yeah. So it's basically now moving just in a straight line. It's just a little line of thunderstorms here. And it does seem like it's going to stay, looks like, to the north of Manhattan. But could see areas such as Yonkers, Stamford, maybe Oyster Bay start to get into some of the action there. Of course, we have Patterson getting into it now, but the main part of the system is still back into Parsippany Troy Hills. All right, moving back up to the north here by, let's see here. Let's take a look by Worcester. Yeah, Worcester seems like it just moved to the south of you by Webster and Quinnebog. Crystal Lake, Stafford, starting to see some severe thunderstorms there. You still got Barkhamsted there, North Granby and Granby. You got Springfield kind of in between two storms. But let's take a look further back to the west. Let's move over to our Albany. There we go. Yeah, this little area here is starting to diminish. That's expiring in 12 minutes. I doubt that'll get renewed. Although Half Moon and Waterford are getting it right now as we speak. So it seems like most of the action now is going to be further down to the south here. Let's take a look here by Harrisonburg. Let's see what's going on over there. Just some thunderstorms popping in and out. I don't think that they're going to be extremely major. They probably just crossed the thresholds. Let's see. Let's see what this is doing here. Yeah, right at about 57, 58. So, alrighty. So, Annapolis just got it. It is running out of gas. Moving into now Stevensville. Alrighty. Let's see here. Okay, we got just east of Nashville. What's going on there? Yeah, you got a little bit of radar indicated severe weather here. 45 miles an hour right now. It's picking up. Let's take a look at our reflectivity. Yeah, it's starting to blow up a little bit more. You can see, especially in that back end here, you can see that, you know, just this one area right in here is just kind of blowing up a little bit more than the rest. You do got down here, but it's not as crazy as up here. Just seems like everything's going right now here by Gordonsville. Just a wide thunderstorm there, and it is moving right by. I believe that is I-40. Let me do a little fact check on myself here, but I do believe that that is I-40 there through Gordonsville. It indeed is. So I-40 there through Gordonsville by Watertown, Dowelltown, Carthage. You are seeing some severe weather here, and you basically just got a little line here from Williamsburg, Kentucky, right down to Murfreesboro, Tennessee there. That's about it for that area right in there. You got another secondary line here starting to pop up here by Middlesboro, starting to move into Knoxville. We'll continue to check in on that. But other than that, really not much going on as we speak here. It seems like things are starting to die down. I would cover Maine, but I just don't get a good look from the radar here. It just does not seem like, let's see, the velocity is going out. What if I go to a different tilt? Yeah, no, not really. We're not really getting great visuals here. Our best visual here is actually by Seebeck and Brownsville. Let's see what that is. It's right around 55, 56, 57 miles an hour. Over here, this is like 50. Up here, I probably don't have even a clue. Because I do it to maybe this. Nope. Yeah, you really don't get a good visual over here. Alrighty then. Let's move over here to, I guess the Boston radar might be closer. Yep. Okay, so just to the east of Manchester here. Now moving into Portsmouth, New Hampshire there. We do have, moving toward I-95 there, a pretty bulky line of thunderstorms there. You do got a little bit of chunk in there. Chunky thunderstorm. So we're going to see them move into Rye Beach Village District, Hampton, Seabrook, maybe even Salisbury, Merrimack, Newburyport, Newbury, Portsmouth, Kittery, South Elliott. And then you move further north, you got Dover, Cape Nettic, Ogunquit, Kennebunkport, all up there in Maine. Now, of course, this is going to be, mostly right along the shoreline, so we won't have to deal with that for much longer. But we're seeing a lot of these almost expire, too. 8 minutes, 8 minutes, 8 minutes, 8 minutes, 8 minutes. And then you start to see the longer ones down there in Maryland. But you still got a lot of ones expiring pretty soon here. Yeah, so it does seem like things are starting to ramp down a little bit more in the Northeast New England theater of this severe weather threat, but things are still amping up here down in the Mid-Atlantic. So we will see here what happens. We could see another round here start to pick up. But at the moment, it does not seem that way. Alrighty. Let me just do a quick little audio check. Alright. We are good. Okay. So, we are moving on here. Let's go back to our models and our NWS sites here. Let's take a look at that satellite imagery again, shall we? Alrighty, let me just adjust that. Perfect. Let's go to the satellite. I always like looking at the satellite imagery. So, yeah, we see those storms moving through Annapolis right there. That's at about, I would say closer to 100 flashes per 5 minutes. You got up by Manchester. That's closer to, another 100 flashes per 5 minutes. But you can really start to see which thunderstorms are dying off and which thunderstorms are really amping up here on the satellite imagery. When you do look at the lightning flashes, you can see that our thunderstorm here in Patterson is ramping down. We're barely now at we're probably near 5 flashes per 5 minutes, so that's about a flash per minute, and decreasing. You also got up by Maine. You got this northern side here by Ogunquit, Portland, areas like that. That's starting to die down. But on the other hand, the areas by Manchester are heating up there, moving into Portsmouth. You can see that our area that just moved through Springfield, that's also starting to die down. But at the same time, right behind it, we're starting to see a more lateral structure there. That's starting to ramp up a little bit more. Now, on the other hand, you have just generally just a line of thunderstorms down here from Philadelphia down to Kentucky that's really kind of staying firm. You're really not seeing many storms start to die off, more than just kind of refuel and recharge. And as that continues to happen, it's going to continue to move further down to the south. Now, we do still have our threat for winds, but that starts to kind of die off before it moves into Norfolk and Richmond down here. So you still got a little bit of room there for some development, but it does not seem very likely that this continues for a while. Now, the strong wind threat is highest right in here, and you can see that we're starting to move away from that area. The line is continuing to push south and east, and as that does happen, we're going to see these things start to dismantle and disintegrate as that continues to happen. Alrighty. So I'm going to keep that up here because I think that looks really cool. Let's just minimize it a little bit more and then bring this up. It's about equal. Alrighty. Moving back down to our area here. This is starting to explode a little bit more. Let's see. Am I still on the DC radar? No, I'm not. Let's use the DC radar. This is the main area. This is where most of the action is, actually. Right in here. And the thing is that this is moving pretty much straight east. So you do have a lot of areas here that are, you know, not really getting a lot of a break, right? Even though the actual front itself is moving this way, the storms themselves are moving to the east. So we will probably see that change here pretty soon, but we will have to see. Alrighty, yep, still just a continuation of that line. You just got this general line here from right over here, just straight down. And that's a horrible line. Let's try and make a better one. Just straight down here. And that's just going to continue to move this way. So, and then you kind of got your dividing line here where things are going to start to bleed off right around here. So you kind of got, you know, you don't got much time left for a few of these storms, especially up to the north here. Alrighty. Well, we are going to probably end this pretty soon here. Yeah, it is approaching 7 o'clock here. We are going to start to see things start to tone down. Of course, we do have a lot less activity up here up north. Really not much. You got everything kind of, you know, lining up here in, you know, the northern half of Connecticut, the southern half of Massachusetts. That's just going to be your general thunderstorms. You got your stuff moving through Portsmouth at the moment. Let's actually take a closer look at that because we do have some strong rain and wind over there. Let's see here. Let's move to our Boston radar for that. Maybe. Will this have a better angle? I think it does. It's not in a great area either way, but got some strong rain and wind moving into Portsmouth, Rye, Hampton, Seabrook, areas over there. Let's actually see maybe the Boston radar. There we go. There we go. It's just moving right through Exeter at the moment and continuing its way to the north and east here. Now, yet again, we have everything in Portland starting to die off according to the satellite imagery here. But everything by Exeter is kind of starting to heat up a little bit more. That the map is starting to lighting up a little bit more over there. But we also have one little area starting to pop up here. That's on the southern PA. Let's see. I think it's right here. This is starting to pop up. So that's one thing maybe to keep note of. But yeah, really not much. We were thinking that generally that the ideal areas were right in here. And it just does not seem like there's much in there right now. That was our ideal area for tornadoes, although we only had the one tornado warning there in western New Jersey. So we just don't have a lot going on here, and it just seems like everything's kind of staying right off to the south here, where you're not going to see much longer duration of some of these storms before the environment becomes less conducive for thunderstorm development there. But let's just take a look back here in our main area. Of course, the Portsmouth area starting to get into it now. So that's about it. Portsmouth, and then it's just going to move right off the coast. So basically, Vermont, you're pretty much done. New Hampshire, you're about to be done. Maine, you'll probably see it continue a little bit longer up north, but most of the populated areas of south and southeastern Maine are starting to become done. You got northern Connecticut and southern Massachusetts still in the target area at the moment. Then you got areas around New York starting to die off. So New York, southern New York might be pretty much done here. Philadelphia's done. Baltimore's done. DC, you're still going to have to deal with it for a little bit longer as, again, that general east-west movement continues to move around DC itself. Not actually in DC, but just to the south here. You got areas such as Harrisonburg, Fredericksburg, Culpeper, areas like that. And then you got areas maybe even moving into Dover here, this general area right here. But, it just seems like most of the major areas are not getting hit at the moment. Yeah. We did have, the last time I did one of these lives, we had Fort Wayne get that derecho where we were seeing, 75 to 100 mile an hour winds. So we're just not getting that here today. And, sometimes that happens. But, it just seems like things just weren't there when they had to be. Yeah. The main area of development right now for areas that could be seeing impacts is right in here. That in that main region specified by the Storm Prediction Center, it's right in here. You're gonna see it right in here. You got Enfield, you got Hurley, Lakesville, Westfield, just north of Hartford, just north of Waterbury, north of Poughkeepsie, and then you got, of course, this general area. Just not gonna see much as of now. Of course, things can change, but, you know, we have been going for about an hour. So if you did tune in, I'd like to thank you all for watching. You know, I'd like to do a lot more of these over the summer, especially since, you know, I have a lot more free time during the summer. But, you know, we'll see. We haven't had a lot of severe weather outbreaks. I go onto the Storm Prediction Center every day, and I'm like, oh, there's really not much there. It's usually mostly slight and marginal risks, and you know, it's really not very entertaining. But today we did have that enhanced risk, but really didn't get much out of it. Didn't squeeze a lot of that juice out of there. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss any more weather updates. But that is all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys